Good evening, my friend. Welcome to another gentle journey through the pages of history, where we'll wander the quiet corners of a time long past. Tonight, we'll step into the world of medieval England, a land of flickering torches and ancient stone, to ponder a curious question. Could knights truly survive the long, grueling months of a castle siege? This story is crafted to help you appreciate the resilience of those who lived in such uncertain times, all while your mind softens and your body prepares for rest. If you're enjoying these sleepy tales, I'd be so grateful if you'd tap that like button or consider subscribing. It's a small way to keep these stories glowing, and I'm always warmed by hearing where you're listening from. It amazes me how many of you are tucked in from different parts of the world. So, if you'd like, drop a comment below to share your cozy corner of the globe. For now, though, let's settle in. Find that cozy spot under your blankets, take a slow, deep breath, and let your body melt into the bed, as if you're sinking into a soft cloud. Feel the weight of the day slip away, your shoulders loosening, your thoughts growing quiet. There's no rush tonight, just a gentle drift into a story that's waiting for you. You blink awake on a thin straw mattress, the chill of early morning seeping through the cracked stone walls around you. The air carries the faint scent of damp earth and smoldering wood from a nearby hearth. Outside, you hear the distant clink of metal and the soft murmur of voices, muffled by the thick fog that blankets the land. Your rough wool tunic scratches lightly against your skin as you rise, your breath visible in the cool air. You're in 13th century England, a time when castles stood as both refuge and battleground, their walls holding stories of courage and endurance. The world is changing, kings clash, trade routes hum, and faith shapes every heart. Tonight, we'll linger in the shadow of a great stone fortress under siege, where knights and their people face the slow test of time. You are a humble squire, serving a night within these walls, your days filled with small tasks and quiet moments as the siege stretches on. Isco simple paragraph, me liko no comas kuch bni. As you settle deeper into your cozy nook, let's drift across the centuries to a time when England's hills were crowned with castles, their towers piercing the misty skies. It's the year 1216, and the land is restless. King John's reign has sparked rebellion, and barons challenge his rule. In this quiet tale, we'll linger at Kenilworth Castle, a mighty fortress in Warwickshire, where a siege has just begun. The castle's walls, built of red sandstone, stand firm against an army camped beyond the moat, their banners fluttering in the wind. But this isn't a story of clashing swords or thundering catapults. It's about the slow, steady life within those walls, where knights, squires, and villagers wait, work, and endure. Picture yourself as that squire, your days spent polishing armor, fetching water, or standing watch on the battlements. The siege is less about battles and more about time, days blurring into weeks, weeks into months. Could knights, with their heavy armor and noble vows, truly survive such a trial? The answer lies not in their swords, but in their patience, their routines, and the small acts that kept hope alive. This castle is a world unto itself, with bakers kneading dough, blacksmiths hammering softly, and priests murmuring prayers in the chapel. The air smells of fresh bread, horse sweat, and the faint tang of mildew from the damp stone. As you listen, you may already feel your eyelids growing heavy. And that's just fine. You don't need to hold on to every detail. Let the story carry you, like a leaf floating down a quiet stream. We'll wander through the castle's halls, pause at its hearths, and gaze out over its walls, all while the world outside fades into a distant hum. Let's begin, as the first candle is lit and the siege settles over Kenilworth like a soft, unending dusk. You stand on the battlements, the cool stone rough under your palms, as dawn paints the sky in soft pinks and golds. A faint mist curls over the moat, carrying the earthy scent of damp reeds. The world feels hushed, as if holding its breath. You lean against the parapet, your wool tunic scratching lightly against your shoulders. The air is crisp, tinged with the faint smoke of last night's hearth fires, and you pull your cloak a little tighter. Below, the courtyard of Kenilworth Castle stirs gently. Servants carry baskets of kindling, their footsteps muffled on the packed earth, and a horse snorts softly in the stables. Beyond the moat, a half-mile away, the enemy's camp sprawls like a patchwork of tents, their banners limp in the still air. You squint, catching the glint of a distant spear, but no drums or war cries break the silence. This is a siege, you're learning, not a clash of swords, but a slow, patient test of endurance. You're a squire, barely 16, bound to Sir William, a knight with graying hair and steady hands. Your day begins with simple tasks, the kind that keep the castle's heart beating. You descend the stone steps from the battlements, each one worn smooth by centuries of boots, their edges cool against your fingers as you steady yourself. The spiral staircase smells of mildew and old wax, and a faint draft brushes your cheek. In the courtyard, you fetch a bucket of water from the well, its wooden handle smooth and heavy. The water sloshes, softly, catching the pale morning light, and you carry it to the stables, where the scent of hay and warm horseflesh greets you. Sir William is there, checking his destrious hooves, his breath clouding in the chilly air. He nods to you, his voice low and calm. "The walls will hold, lad," he says, gesturing to the towering red sandstone that surrounds you. You glance up, noticing how the stones fit tightly, their surfaces pitted by years of wind and rain. You've heard the older squires say these walls are 20 feet thick in places, built to withstand months, even years of siege. In 1216, this castle is a fortress of refuge, home to some 200 souls, knights, archers, cooks, children, and priests, all bound together in this moment of waiting. The moat, 30 feet wide and fed by a hidden spring, glimmers like a ribbon of silver, keeping the enemy at bay. You follow Sir William to the great hall, where knights gather around a trestle table, their voices a soft murmur. The hall smells of wood smoke and fresh-baked bread, a comforting warmth against the morning's chill. You set the bucket down, your arms aching slightly, and listen as Sir William speaks of rations, barley, dried fish, and apples stored in the cellars below. "A siege is won by patience," he says, his eyes meeting yours. "Not by rushing to fight." You nod, though your mind wanders to the weight of his armor, which you'll polish later. A full suit, you've learned, can weigh as much as a grown man. 60 pounds of steel, chainmail, and leather, crafted to protect but heavy to bear. How do knights carry such a burden day after day? You wonder, but the thought drifts, soft as the smoke curling toward the hall's rafters. Your next task is to fetch Sir William's shield, leaning against the wall in his quarters. The wooden floor creaks underfoot as you enter, and the air carries the faint tang of oiled leather. The shield is broad, its surface painted with a faded red cross, the wood smooth but scarred from training. You carry it carefully, feeling its weight pull at your shoulders, and bring it to the armory, where a single candle flickers. The armorer, a gruff man named John, is sharpening a dagger, the whetstone's soft scrape blending with the distant clink of a blacksmith's hammer. You set the shield down, and John hands you a rag and a pot of beeswax. "Polish it slow," he says, his voice a low rumble. You rub the wax into the wood, its scent sweet and earthy, and the shield begins to gleam faintly in the candlelight. As you work, you hear the chapel bell toll, a deep, resonant sound that seems to hum through the castle's stones. It's time for morning prayers, and the knights will gather soon, their armor left behind for a moment of quiet. You pause, the rag still in your hand, and notice the stillness settling over you. The castle feels like a living thing, its walls breathing with the lives within. Mothers mending clothes, children chasing a stray cat, a cook stirring a pot of porridge. Outside, the enemy waits, but here, life goes on, steady and unhurried. Sleep friendly. If your mind is already drifting, that's perfectly all right. Let the scent of beeswax and the bell's soft echo carry you towards sleep. You don't need to hold on to every detail. Just let your body sink deeper into the bed, as if you're resting on that straw mattress within Kenilworth's walls. You finish polishing the shield and step into the courtyard again, where the sun has climbed higher, warming the stones. A sparrow flits overhead, its wings a soft flutter, and you feel the rhythm of the castle wrapping around you. Sir William passes by, his cloak brushing the ground, and he claps your shoulder gently. "Good work, lad. he says, and you feel a small glow of pride. The siege has only just begun, but already you sense its pace, slow, deliberate, like the turning of seasons. The nights, you realize, survive not by fighting but by living, day by day, within these walls that hold them. Historical note: sieges like Kenilworth's in 1216 to 1217 could stretch for months, testing not just strength but spirit. Castles were designed for this: deep wells, thick walls, and storehouses packed with grain and salted meat. The people inside relied on routine, on small acts like polishing a shield or sharing a loaf, to keep hope alive. You don't need to remember this part. Just let the thought of those steady days lull you, like the gentle rock of a boat on a calm sea. The morning fades, and you return to the battlements for a moment, gazing out at the moat's still water. The enemy's tents are unchanged, their campfires mere pinpricks of light. A breeze carries the scent of wet grass, and you breathe it in, your eyelids growing heavy. The castle stands firm, its walls a quiet promise of safety, and you feel yourself settling into its rhythm, ready for whatever tomorrow brings. As the stars peek through the clouds above Kenilworth, the castle grows quieter, its people slipping into sleep. The story drifts now, soft as a whisper, to another day within these walls. The morning mist clings to the courtyard, soft and cool, as you sweep the stable floor, the broom's bristles whispering against the packed earth. The air smells of straw and dew, and the world feels gentle, wrapped in the hush of early dawn. You move the broom in slow, steady strokes, each one blending into the next, like the rhythm of a lullaby. The stables are dim, lit only by slivers of light slipping through the wooden shutters. The horses shift in their stalls, their hooves thudding softly, and you pause to pat a gray mare's flank, her coat warm and slightly damp under your hand. Her breath puffs out, a faint cloud in the chilly air, and you smile, feeling the castle's heartbeat in these quiet moments. Your wool tunic tugs at your shoulders as you bend to scoop a handful of oats from a sack, the grains cool and smooth between your fingers. You pour them into a trough, their faint rustle blending with the distant clink of a bucket from the courtyard. Outside, the mist is lifting, revealing the red sandstone walls of Kenilworth Castle, their surfaces catching the first rays of sunlight. You step into the open air, the scent of wet grass mixing with the faint smoke of a nearby hearth. The moat glimmers beyond, its water still and silver, holding the enemy at bay. Their tents, half a mile away, are unchanged, small dots of canvas under a gray sky. No arrows fly, no catapults groan. This siege, you're learning, is a war of waiting, where time itself becomes the challenge. You glance up at the battlements, where an archer yawns, his bow resting against the stone. The castle holds 200 souls, all moving through their days with a kind of gentle purpose, like a village untouched by the world beyond. Sir William, your knight, calls you to the training yard, his voice soft but firm. You hurry across the courtyard, your boots sinking slightly into the damp earth. The yard is a small square of packed dirt, surrounded by low walls, where knights spar with blunted swords. Their movements are slow, deliberate, to save strength. Sir William explained yesterday that a siege could last months, and every ounce of energy matters. You watch him swing a wooden practice sword, its arc smooth, his breath steady. He pauses to adjust his leather gambeson, its stitching worn but soft, and beckons you over. "Help me with this strap," he says, pointing to a loose buckle on his side. You kneel, the leather cool and supple under your fingers, and tighten the strap, feeling the weight of his trust in your small task. While you work, Sir William speaks of the castle's stores, barley, oats, and salted fish, kept in cool cellars below the keep. You've heard the steward say there's enough for months, if rationed carefully. A siege, he says, is won not by blades, but by barrels, by the grain sacks and water barrels that keep the castle alive. You nod, though your mind drifts to the porridge you ate at dawn, its warmth filling your belly, its taste plain but comforting. The knights eat the same, their portions no larger than yours, a reminder that all are equal in this waiting game. Your next task takes you to the well, its stone rim slick with moss. You lower the bucket, the rope rough against your palms, and hear the faint splash as it hits the water far below. The well is deep, 80 feet, a servant told you, carved into the earth to ensure the castle never thirsts. You haul the bucket up, your arms straining, and carry it to the kitchen, where a cook stirs a cauldron over a low fire. The air smells of boiling barley and herbs, a faint hint of thyme from the garden nearby. You set the bucket down, the wooden floor creaking, and wipe your brow, feeling the morning's work settle into your bones. As noon approaches, you climb the spiral stairs to the keep, the stone cool and smooth under your hand. The stairs wind tightly, their edges worn by countless steps, and you pause to catch your breath, the air heavy with the scent of old wax and dust. From a narrow window, you glimpse the enemy's camp again, their fires mere specks in the distance. A hawk circles above, its cry faint and lonely, and you wonder if it feels the weight of the siege too. But the thought slips away, soft as the mist, and you continue upward, your footsteps echoing faintly. In the keep, you find Sir William inspecting a map, its parchment crinkled and stained. He points to the moat, tracing its curve with a calloused finger. "This keeps us safe," he says, his voice steady. "As long as the water flows, we endure." You nod, picturing the spring that feeds the moat, hidden somewhere beneath the castle's roots. The map shows Kenilworth's walls, thick and unyielding, a fortress built to outlast any foe. You don't need to know the details, just the feeling of safety they bring, like a warm blanket on a cold night. If your eyes are growing heavy now, that's just fine. Let the rhythm of the castle's days carry you, soft as a lullaby. You don't need to remember the map or the moat. Just let your body sink deeper into the bed, as if you're resting on that straw mattress within these walls. You return to the courtyard, where a child chases a wooden hoop, its clatter soft against the stones. A woman mends a cloak nearby, her needle glinting in the sunlight. The castle feels alive, its routines weaving a quiet tapestry. Sweep the stables, fetch the water, mend the strap, pray at dusk. These are the threads that hold you together, that keep the night strong. Sir William passes by, his boots crunching on gravel, and he nods to you, a small gesture that feels like home. You realize the nights survive not by fighting but by living, by finding purpose in each small task, day after day. The afternoon sun warms your face, and you pause by the garden wall, where a single daisy sways in the breeze. Its petals are soft, fragile, yet somehow enduring, like the castle itself. You breathe in the scent of earth and herbs, your thoughts growing hazy, and feel the siege's slow rhythm wrap around you. The enemy waits beyond, but here, within these walls, life is steady, unhurried, a gentle dance of days. Transition. As the sun dips low, casting long shadows across the courtyard, the castle hums with soft snores and whispered prayers. The story drifts now, quiet as a candle's flicker, to another moment within Kenilworth's embrace. The fire crackles softly in the great hall, its warmth wrapping around you like a gentle embrace as you sit on a wooden bench, the wood smooth beneath your hands. The air carries the scent of wood smoke and roasted turnips, blending with the faint sweetness of fresh bread cooling on a nearby table. You shift on the bench, your wool tunic brushing against your knees, and let your gaze wander over the hall. The high ceiling is lost in shadows, but the firelight dances on the stone walls, catching the faded threads of a tapestry depicting a hunt, hounds and deer woven in soft greens and golds. The hall is alive with quiet murmurings, a tapestry of voices weaving together. Knights sharing stories, servants passing wooden platters, a child giggling as she tugs at her mother's apron. The siege has stretched into its second month, but tonight, the weight of waiting feels lighter, softened by the glow of the hearth and the simple comfort of being together. You're a squire, young and watchful, tasked with serving Sir William, who sits across the hall, his graying hair catching the fire's light. He leans back, a horn cup of ale in his hand, and laughs softly at a tale told by Sir Thomas, a younger knight with a quick smile. The story is of a tournament long past, where a horse bolted and left its rider sprawled in the dust. The laughter ripples gently, like a breeze over a still pond, and you feel your own lips curve upward. You rise to fetch another loaf from the table, your boots scuffing softly on the rush-strewn floor, the dried herbs beneath releasing a faint scent of lavender and thyme. As you pass the bread to a servant, her calloused fingers brushing yours, you notice the minstrel in the corner, his fingers plucking a lute. The melody is slow, wistful, its notes curling through the air like smoke. You pause, the loaf still warm in your hands, and let the music settle over you, softening the edges of your thoughts. The minstrel's voice joins in, low and tender, singing of a knight who wandered far from home, guided only by the stars. The words blur, their meaning less important than their cadence, and you feel your shoulders loosen, as if the song is carrying away the day's small burdens. You return to your bench, the fire's warmth seeping into your bones, and notice Sir William watching the flames, his expression distant. You wonder what he sees, perhaps his manor by the river, its meadows green and quiet, or perhaps the faces of those he's sworn to protect within these walls. You've heard the older squires say that music and stories are as vital as bread during a siege, lifting spirits when the days grow long. Tonight you understand why. The hall feels like a haven, its stone walls holding not just the castle's people but their hopes, their memories, their quiet joys. A servant passes you a small wooden bowl of turnip stew, its steam rising in delicate curls. You dip a crust of bread into it, the broth savory and warm, and chew slowly, savoring the simplicity. The bread is coarse, flecked with bits of barley, but it fills you with a quiet satisfaction. Across the hall, a knight raises his cup, toasting to the castle's strength, and others join in, their voices soft but steady. You sip your own ale, its bitterness softened by a hint of honey, and feel the warmth spread through your chest, like the fire's glow spreading through the room. If your eyelids are growing heavy now, let them fall. The minstrel's lute is playing just for you, its notes guiding you toward a soft, quiet place. You don't need to hold on to the story. Just let the fires crackle and the hall's warmth cradle you, as if you're already half dreaming. You lean back, the bench creaking faintly, and notice a child curled up near the hearth, her head resting on her mother's lap. The mother hums softly, her fingers combing through the girl's hair, and the sight stirs a memory of your own village, far beyond the moat. You picture your mother's hands, rough from weaving, and the way she'd sing you to sleep on winter nights. The thought is gentle, fleeting, like a leaf drifting down a stream, and you let it go, your gaze returning to the fire. Sir William rises, his cloak brushing the floor, and steps closer to the hearth. He tells a story of his own now, his voice low and steady, about a squire who once saved his knight by mending a broken saddle before a battle. The others listen, their faces softened by the firelight, and you feel a small glow of pride, knowing your own tasks, polishing armor, fetching water, matter just as much. The castle is a world of small acts, each one a thread in the tapestry that holds you all together. The minstrel's song ends, the final note lingering like a sigh, and the hall grows quieter, the voices fading to a gentle hum. You yawn, your jaw loosening, and feel the day's work settle into your limbs, heavy but comforting. The fire pops, sending a tiny spark upward, and you watch it fade, your thoughts growing hazy. The siege is far from over, but tonight, within these walls, it feels distant, like a storm beyond the horizon. The great hall is your world, its warmth and voices a lullaby that wraps around you, soft and eternal. You glance at the tapestry again, its deer seeming to move in the flickering light, and let your mind wander. The knights, the servants, the children, they all share this moment, bound by the castle's embrace. You feel a part of it, small but needed, and the thought is as comforting as the blanket you'll pull over yourself later, in the squire's quarters. The fire burns lower now, its glow a soft amber, and you feel yourself sinking deeper into the bench, as if it's the bed waiting for you at home. If you're already drifting, that's perfectly all right. Let the fire's glow and the lute's echo fade into your dreams, carrying you to a place of rest. The castle will hold you, just as it holds its people, safe and warm through the night. Sir William returns to his seat, his boots scuffing softly, and you catch his eye. He nods, a small gesture that feels like a promise, and you know tomorrow will bring more tasks, more quiet moments. But for now, the hall is enough. Its fire, its voices, its gentle rhythm. You close your eyes for a moment, the warmth lingering on your skin, and feel the siege's weight lift, if only for tonight. The fire dims, its embers glowing like tiny stars, and the great hall grows still, its people slipping into whispers and dreams. The story drifts now, soft as a shadow, to another quiet corner of Kenilworth's world. The wind whispers through the battlements as you climb the watchtower's narrow steps, each stone cool and worn smooth under your boots. The air carries the sharp scent of pine from the distant woods beyond the moat, and the night wraps around you like a soft, dark cloak. You pause on the spiral staircase, your hand resting against the rough sandstone wall, its surface faintly damp from the evening's mist. The climb is familiar now, your legs steady despite the late hour, and you feel the castle's quiet heartbeat pulsing through the stones. It's your turn to take the night watch, a task shared among the squires to ease the burden on the archers and knights. The siege of Kenilworth Castle has stretched into its third month, but tonight the world feels still, as if time itself has slowed to match the castle's patient endurance. You adjust your wool cloak, its weight comforting against the chill, and continue upward, the soft creak of your boots blending with the faint rustle of your tunic. At the top, you step into the open air of the watchtower, a small platform ringed by low parapets. The sky is vast, a tapestry of stars scattered like grains of silver across a velvet black. You breathe deeply, the crisp air filling your lungs, and catch the faint tang of wood smoke drifting from the enemy's camp, half a mile beyond the moat. Their fires glow like distant embers, too far to threaten, too close to ignore. You lean against the stone, its roughness grounding you, and let your gaze wander over the castle below. The courtyard is a patchwork of shadows, lit only by a single torch flickering near the stables. The moat glimmers faintly, its water a still mirror reflecting the stars, and you feel the castle's strength in its silence, its walls standing firm against the night. You're a squire, young but growing into your role, bound to Sir William, whose steady presence lingers in your thoughts even now. He taught you to watch not just for movement but for patterns, the way a fire might flare, the way a shadow might shift. You scan the horizon, your eyes adjusting to the dark, but nothing stirs. The enemy waits, as they have for weeks, their tents unchanged, their banners limp in the still air. You wonder what they think of Kenilworth's walls, 20 feet thick and unyielding, or the moat, fed by a spring that never falters. The castle is a world unto itself, home to 200 souls who live, work, and hope within its embrace. You feel a part of it, small but needed, like a single thread in a vast tapestry. If your mind is already wandering, that's just fine. Let the stars above and the cool stone beneath your hands guide you toward rest. You don't need to watch the horizon. Just let your thoughts drift, soft as the wind, into a quiet place of dreams. You shift your weight, the stone floor cold through your boots, and pull your cloak tighter. The wind carries a faint sound, a horse snorting in the stables, the soft clink of a guard's armor below, and you feel the castle breathing, its people tucked into their beds or huddled by hearths. You imagine the great hall, its fire now a pile of glowing embers, and the squire's quarters, where your straw mattress waits, its rustle a promise of sleep. But for now, the watchtower is your world, its silence a kind of comfort, like a lullaby sung by the night itself. Sir William joins you, his footsteps soft but deliberate on the stairs. His armor clinks faintly, a sound you've grown to know, and he leans against the parapet beside you, his breath clouding in the air. "All quiet?" he asks, his voice low, steady, like the toll of the chapel bell at dusk. You nod, pointing to the enemy's fires, their glow unchanged. He gazes out, his face lined but calm, and speaks of duty, of the oaths knights swear to protect their lord and his castle. You listen, the words weaving through your thoughts, and learn that knights train for years to endure. Not just battles, but moments like this, where patience is their greatest strength. A knight's armor, he says, is heavy, 60 pounds of steel and chainmail, but it's the heart beneath that carries the true weight. You trace the constellations above, their names forgotten but their patterns familiar, like old friends. A faint memory stirs, of lying in your village field, your father pointing to the stars, his voice a soft rumble. But it fades, gentle as a sigh, and you let it go. Sir William notices your gaze and names one cluster, the Plough, its stars a guide for travelers. You nod, though the name slips away, your mind softening under the night's spell. The wind brushes your cheek, cool and fleeting, and you feel the siege's weight lift, if only for this moment. If your eyelids are growing heavy, let them fall. The stars are watching over you, their light soft and eternal. You don't need to hold on to the Plough or Sir William's words. Just let the watchtower's silence cradle you, as if you're already half dreaming within these walls. You glance at the castle again, its towers rising like silent sentinels. The chapel's roof is a faint outline, its cross catching a glimmer of starlight, and you think of the prayers offered there each dawn, binding the castle's people together. You've seen the knights kneel, their armor left behind, and felt the quiet strength of their faith. The siege tests them, but they endure not with swords but with routines, polishing shields, mending straps, sharing bread. You're part of that, your tasks as vital as any knight's, and the thought warms you, like a hearth's glow on a winter night. Sir William shifts, his cloak rustling, and points to a faint glow on the horizon, dawn, still hours away but creeping closer. You've done well, he says, his hand resting briefly on your shoulder, its weight steady and kind. You nod, a small glow of pride warming your chest, and watch as he descends the stairs, his figure fading into the shadows. You're alone again, but not lonely. The castle is with you, its walls, its moat, its quiet life. You lean against the parapet, the stone cool against your cheek, and let your gaze drift upward, the stars blurring into a soft haze. The wind dies down, leaving only silence, and you feel your thoughts growing hazy, like mist over the moat. The enemy's fires seem fainter now, their threat distant, and you wonder if they too watch the stars, if they too wait for dawn. But the thought is fleeting, slipping away like water through your fingers, and you let it go, your breath slowing, your body sinking into the moment. The watchtower holds you, its stones a promise of safety, and you feel yourself drifting, as if the night itself is carrying you towards sleep. You yawn, your jaw loosening, and notice the first hint of gray on the horizon, soft as a whisper. The castle will wake soon, servants fetching water, cooks stirring porridge, knights donning their heavy armor. But for now it sleeps, its rhythm steady and unhurried. You feel a part of that rhythm. You watch a small but vital note in the castle's quiet song. The stars fade slightly, their light giving way to dawn, and you know your task is nearly done, your bed waiting below. If you're already half asleep, that's perfectly all right. Let the watchtower's silence and the stars' gentle glow fade into your dreams, carrying you to a place of rest. The castle will stand firm, just as it always has, and you can let go, safe within its embrace. You take one last look at the moat, its water now catching the faintest light, and feel the night's peace settle over you, soft as a blanket. Your watch is over, but the castle's vigil continues, its walls enduring, its people waiting. You turn toward the stairs, your boots scuffing softly, and begin your descent, the stone steps guiding you downward toward rest. Dawn's first light touches the horizon, casting a gentle glow over Kenilworth's towers, and the castle stirs, its people waking to another day. The story drifts now, quiet as a star's fade, to another moment within these walls. The forge's glow warms your face as you step into the armory, the air thick with the scent of coal dust and heated metal. The soft clang of a hammer echoes, steady and slow, like a heartbeat, as you cross the threshold, your boots scuffing on the stone floor. You pause just inside the doorway, letting your eyes adjust to the dim light, where shadows dance with the fire's flicker. The armory is a small, vaulted chamber tucked beneath the castle's keep, its walls blackened by years of soot. Iron tools hang from hooks, their edges glinting faintly, and a pile of chainmail lies coiled in a corner, like a sleeping serpent. The heat wraps around you, loosening the chill in your bones, and you feel the siege's weight soften, if only for this moment. Kenilworth Castle has endured 3 months of waiting, its people bound by the quiet rhythm of survival, and here, in this smoky haven, that rhythm takes the form of hammer and steel. You're a squire, tasked with serving Sir William, but today he sent you to help John, the armorer, a man with shoulders broad as an ox and hands scarred from years at the forge. John glances up from his work, his face ruddy in the firelight, and nods toward a dented breastplate on the workbench. "Needs smoothing," he says, his voice a low rumble, and hands you a hammer, its wooden handle worn smooth by countless hands. You take it, feeling its weight settle in your palm, and step closer to the bench, the scent of oiled metal sharp in your nose. The breastplate is cold to the touch, its surface marred by a shallow dent from a training mishap. You set to work, tapping gently, the hammer's soft clinks blending with the fire's crackle. Sparks drift upward, tiny stars that fade before they reach the stone ceiling, and you feel a quiet satisfaction in each strike, as if you're shaping not just metal but the castle's strength. John watches, his eyes keen but kind, and tells you to keep the blows light. Too much force, and the steel will weaken. You nod, your arms finding a rhythm, and let your thoughts drift, soft as the smoke curling toward the chimney. Sleep friendly. If your mind is already growing hazy, that's perfectly all right. Let the hammer's steady tap and the forge's warmth carry you, like a boat rocking gently on a calm sea. You don't need to hold on to the metal's shape, just let your body sink deeper, as if you're resting by the fire's glow. John picks up a chainmail shirt, its links jingling softly, and drapes it over a wooden frame. "Try this," he says, handing you a pair of pliers. The chainmail is heavier than you expected. 20 pounds, he tells you, a fraction of a knight's full armor, which can weigh as much as a grown man. You marvel at Sir William's strength, picturing him in his steel plates, moving with steady grace despite the burden. You work a broken link free, its edges sharp against your fingers, and weave in a new one, the pliers cold and firm in your grip. The task is slow, deliberate, and you feel the castle's patience in it. Every mended link a small act of endurance, like the days that stretch on within these walls. The fire pops, sending a spark skittering across the floor, and you pause to sweep it away with a broom, its bristles scratching softly. The armory smells of ash and wax now, the scents mingling with the faint tang of your own sweat. John hammers a dagger's edge, his strikes steady but unhurried, and speaks of sieges past, when armor saved lives not in battle, but by giving hope. A knight in shining steel, he says, is a symbol, a reminder that the castle stands firm. You listen, the words blending with the forge's hum, and picture Sir William on the battlements, his armor gleaming under the sun, a beacon for the 200 souls within Kenilworth's embrace. You return to the breastplate, its dent nearly gone now, and rub it with a cloth, the steel warming under your touch. The surface reflects the firelight, a soft shimmer that feels like a promise. You think of the moat outside, 30 feet wide and glimmering, and the walls 20 feet thick, holding the enemy at bay. The siege is a test of time, not swords, and the armory is its quiet heart, where steel is mended and spirits are bolstered. You yawn, your jaw loosening, and feel the day's work settle into your limbs, heavy but comforting, like a blanket pulled tight. If your eyelids are drooping now, let them fall. The forge's glow and the hammer's soft rhythm are lulling you, guiding you toward a place of rest. You don't need to finish the breastplate. Just let the armory's warmth wrap around you, as if you're already dreaming within these walls. John sets his hammer down, the silence sudden but gentle, and stokes the fire, its flames flaring briefly before settling. He points to a helm on the bench, its visor creaking as he lifts it. "Sir William's," he says, and you take it, feeling its weight cold, solid, a knight's second skin. You polish it with a rag, the scent of beeswax sweet and earthy, and watch the steel gleam, its surface smooth as a still pond. You imagine Sir William wearing it, his eyes steady behind the visor, and feel a quiet pride in your task, knowing it keeps him safe, keeps the castle strong. Outside, rain begins to patter, its soft drum blending with the forge's hum. You glance toward the narrow window, where water trickles down the glass, catching the firelight like tiny jewels. The sound is soothing, a reminder that the world beyond the armory moves on, slow and steady, like the castle itself. You think of the courtyard, its stones slick with rain, and the stables where the horses sleep, their breath warm in the cool air. The castle is a world of small lives, each one vital, and you feel a part of it, your hands shaping its strength, your heart beating with its rhythm. John sits on a stool, his hands resting on his knees, and tells you of his father, an armorer before him, who worked these same stones. His voice is low, almost a whisper, and you listen, the words fading into a gentle hum. The fire burns lower now, its glow a soft amber, and you feel your thoughts growing hazy, like the rain's mist outside. The helm is polished, the breastplate smooth, and you set them aside, your fingers lingering on the steel, cool and reassuring. The armory feels like a haven, its heat and sounds a lullaby that wraps around you, soft and eternal. You lean against the workbench, the wood creaking faintly, and let your gaze drift to the fire, its flames curling like sleepy dancers. The siege is far from over, but here, in the armory's glow, it feels distant, like a storm beyond the moat. You close your eyes for a moment, the warmth lingering on your skin, and feel the castle's quiet strength, its walls enduring, its people waiting. John's hammer rests silent now, and you know your task is done, the armory ready for another day. If you're already drifting, that's perfectly all right. Let the fire's soft crackle and the rain's gentle patter fade into your dreams, carrying you to a place of peace. The castle will hold you, just as it holds its steel, safe and warm through the night. You step toward the door, the stone floor cool underfoot, and glance back at the forge, its embers glowing like tiny stars. John nods to you, his face softened by the firelight, and you know tomorrow will bring more tasks, more quiet moments. But for now, the armory is enough, its heat, its rhythm, its gentle promise. You pull your cloak tighter, the wool soft against your neck, and step into the rain, its drops cool on your face, guiding you toward rest. The rain softens to a whisper, cloaking Kenilworth stones in a gentle mist, and the castle hums with the quiet of sleep. The story drifts now, soft as an ember's glow, to another corner of this enduring world. The garden's earth is cool and soft under your knees as you kneel beside a patch of thyme, its sharp green scent rising with each careful pluck. The morning sun filters through a haze of clouds, casting a gentle glow over the small plot tucked behind Kenilworth Castle's chapel, where bees hum lazily in the quiet air. You pause, your fingers brushing the thyme's delicate leaves, their texture rough yet fragile, and feel the soil's dampness seep through your wool breeches. The garden is a small square of life, hemmed by low stone walls, where rosemary, sage, and mint grow in neat rows, their colors a soft contrast to the castle's red sandstone. The siege has stretched into its 4th month, but here, in this green haven, time feels gentler, as if the earth itself is whispering patience. You breathe deeply, the air carrying the mingled scents of herbs and wet stone, and let your shoulders loosen, the weight of your squire's duties easing under the sun's faint warmth. You're a squire, bound to Sir William, but this morning he sent you to help Sister Agnes, a nun whose gray robes rustle softly as she tends a bed of lavender nearby. Her hands move with practiced care, snipping sprigs with a small iron blade, and she glances at you, her eyes kind beneath her wimple. For the infirmary, she says, her voice low and soothing, explaining that thyme soothes coughs and sage eases fevers. You nod, tucking a sprig into the basket at your side, its woven reeds creaking faintly. The garden's purpose, you've learned, is as vital as the armory's steel. Its herbs flavor the castle's meager stews and heal its sick, keeping the 200 souls within these walls strong through the long wait. You shift to a patch of mint, its leaves cool and slick under your fingers, and pluck a few, their sharp scent clearing your mind. A bee lands on a nearby flower, its wings a soft buzz, and you watch it move unhurried, as if the siege beyond the moat doesn't exist. The garden feels like a world apart, its stillness a balm against the endless days of waiting. You think of the moat outside, 30 feet wide and glimmering, and the walls 20 feet thick, holding the enemy at bay. But here, The only battle is against weeds, and the only rhythm is the slow growth of green under the sun. If your thoughts are already softening, that's perfectly all right. Let the scent of mint and the bees' gentle hum carry you, like a breeze over a quiet meadow. You don't need to hold on to the herbs' names. Just let your body sink deeper, as if you're resting on this soft earth. Sister Agnes hums a hymn, her voice blending with the breeze, and you feel the castle's quiet strength in her song. You reach for a clay jug, its surface cool and smooth, and pour water over the thyme, watching it darken the soil, small rivulets pooling around the roots. The jug is heavy, its weight grounding you, and you move slowly, careful not to spill. The garden's earth smells rich, like rain-soaked fields, and you remember your village, where your mother grew herbs by the door. The memory is faint, like a half-forgotten dream, and you let it drift, your fingers returning to the mint, its leaves brushing your palm. A sparrow flits onto the garden wall, its tiny claws scratching the stone, and you pause to watch, its head tilting as if curious about your work. The sun climbs higher, warming your back through your tunic, and you feel a quiet contentment, as if the garden is teaching you the castle's secret. To endure is to live day by day, task by task. You've heard the older squires say that sieges test not just knights but everyone, cooks, priests, children. And here, in this small plot, you feel a part of that shared life, your hands nurturing the castle's heart. Sir William appears at the garden's edge, his boots sinking into the soft earth, and kneels to pray by the chapel wall, his head bowed. His cloak, worn but soft, brushes the ground, and you wonder what he asks for: strength, peace, or perhaps an end to this endless wait. You set the jug down, its base thudding softly, and wipe your hands on your tunic, the wool catching the dirt. Sister Agnes nods to you, her basket full now, and you rise, the earth cool under your knees, to carry the herbs to the kitchen. The basket's weight pulls at your arms, but it's a good weight, like the promise of a warm meal. If your eyelids are growing heavy, let them fall. The garden's stillness and the sun's gentle warmth are lulling you, guiding you toward a place of rest. You don't need to carry the basket, just let the earth's quiet rhythm wrap around you, as if you're already dreaming within these walls. You cross the courtyard, the stones slick from last night's rain, and hear the distant clatter of a cart, its wheels creaking as a servant hauls firewood. The chapel bell tolls, a low, resonant sound that seems to hum through the castle's stones, calling the faithful to prayer. You pause, the basket steady in your hands, and feel the siege's weight fade, replaced by the garden's peace. The herbs you carry will soothe aches, flavor broth, and remind the castle's people that life grows, even now. You think of Sir William, his armor heavy but his spirit steady, and feel a quiet pride in your task, knowing it binds you to him, to the castle, to this moment. The kitchen door is ajar, and you step inside, the air warm with the scent of boiling barley and wood smoke. A cook takes the basket, her hands rough but gentle, and you linger for a moment, watching her sort the herbs, her fingers deft. The garden's gifts are small but vital, like the prayers in the chapel or the steel in the armory, and you feel their importance, like a thread in the castle's tapestry. You step back into the courtyard, the sun now high, its light soft on your face, and hear a child laugh, the sound bright against the stone walls. You glance back at the garden, its green rose a quiet promise, and feel the day's work settle into your bones, heavy but comforting. The siege is far from over, but here, in the shadow of the chapel, it feels distant, like a cloud beyond the horizon. You yawn, your jaw loosening, and let your thoughts drift, hazy as the bees hum. The castle endures, its walls, its moat, its garden, and you are part of its steady rhythm. Your task's a lullaby that wraps around you, soft and eternal. If you're already drifting, that's perfectly all right. Let the garden's peace and the sun's soft glow fade into your dreams, carrying you to a place of calm. The castle will hold you, just as it holds its herbs, safe and warm through the day. You walk toward the keep, the stones warm underfoot, and glance at the moat, its water catching the sunlight like a silver thread. Sir William rises from his prayer, his cloak rustling, and nods to you, his eyes steady. You know tomorrow will bring more tasks, more herbs to pick, more water to carry. But for now, the garden is enough, its stillness a gift. You feel your breath slow, your body sinking into the moment, and let the castle's quiet life guide you toward rest. The sun climbs higher, bathing Kenilworth's stones in a gentle light, and the garden fades into the hum of the castle's day. The story drifts now, soft as a bee's wing, to another quiet corner of this enduring world. The chapel's candles flicker softly, their light dancing on the stone walls as you kneel on a worn wooden pew, the wood smooth and cool beneath your hands. The air carries the faint scent of wax and incense, wrapping you in a quiet hush, like a blanket drawn tight on a winter night. You settle into the pew, your wool tunic brushing against your knees, and let your gaze drift upward to the chapel's vaulted ceiling, where shadows pool in the arches. The siege of Kenilworth Castle has stretched into its 4th month, but here, in this small sanctuary tucked within the fortress's heart, the world feels still, as if time has paused to listen. The chapel is modest, its walls adorned only with a simple wooden cross and a faded tapestry of St. Michael, his wings woven in threads of soft blue and gold. The floor is cold stone, worn smooth by countless prayers, and you feel its chill through your breeches, grounding you in this moment of quiet. You're a squire, bound to Sir William, but this evening you've joined the castle's people for Mass, a ritual that binds the 200 souls within these walls. The priest, Father Edmund, stands at the altar, his robes threadbare but clean, his voice a low chant in Latin that hums through the air like a distant lullaby. You don't understand the words, but their rhythm is soothing, blending with the soft rustle of Sister Agnes's habit as she kneels nearby. A child coughs, the sound echoing faintly, and you notice a mother shushing her gently, her hand stroking the child's hair. The chapel is full but not crowded. Knights without their armor, servants in patched tunics, a few children clutching wooden beads, all gathered in a shared moment of hope. You trace the grain of the pew with your finger, its surface polished by years of hands, and feel the castle's strength in this simple act of gathering. The candle's light casts a warm glow, their flame steady despite the draft from a narrow window. You breathe in the incense, its smoky sweetness curling through your thoughts, and let your shoulders loosen, the weight of your squire's duties fading. Outside, the moat glimmers under the stars, 30 feet wide and unyielding, and the walls, 20 feet thick, hold the enemy at bay. But here, the siege feels distant, like a storm beyond the horizon, and the chapel's whisper is all that matters. Father Edmund raises his hands, his voice softening, and you watch the candlelight flicker across his face, lined but calm. You've heard the older squires say that faith is the castle's backbone, as vital as its stores of barley or its well's deep water. In a siege, when days blur into months, prayers offer hope, binding the people together like the stones of Kenilworth's walls. You think of Sir William, who kneels a few pews ahead, his head bowed, his graying hair catching the light. Without his armor, he seems smaller, more human, and you wonder what he prays for. Strength for his men, peace for the kingdom, or perhaps a quiet thought for his distant home. You shift, the pew creaking faintly, and notice a small carved cross in the wood, its edges worn by countless fingers. You trace it, the wood cool and smooth, and feel a memory stir. Of your village church, its benches rougher but just as comforting. The memory is soft, fleeting, like a petal falling from a flower, and you let it go, your gaze returning to the candles. Their wax drips slowly, pooling on the altar, and you watch, your thoughts growing hazy, as if the chapel itself is lulling you towards sleep. A knight coughs softly, his hand resting on his sword's empty scabbard, and you notice the others, their heads bowed, their breaths slow and even. The chapel is a haven, a place where armor is shed and hearts are laid bare. You think of the garden you tended yesterday, its herbs sustaining the castle's body, and realize the chapel sustains its spirit, its prayers as vital as time or sage. You yawn, your jaw loosening, and feel the day's tasks, fetching water, polishing steel, settle into your limbs, heavy but comforting like a warm blanket. Father Edmund's chant ends, the silence sudden but gentle, and he blesses the congregation, his hands tracing a slow cross in the air. You feel the gesture's weight, as if it seals the castle's hope, and watch as the candles burn lower, their light softening to a golden haze. The child beside her mother has fallen asleep, her small hand clutching a bead, and you feel your own eyes grow heavy, the chapel's warmth sinking into your bones. The siege is far from over, but here, in this sacred space, it feels like a distant whisper, overshadowed by the quiet strength of prayer. You glance at the tapestry of Saint Michael, his wings seeming to shimmer in the candlelight, and let your thoughts drift, like smoke rising toward the ceiling. The castle endures, its walls, its moat, its chapel, and you are part of its steady rhythm, your presence a small but vital note in its song. Sir William rises, his cloak brushing the pew, and glances at you, his nod a silent thanks for your shared vigil. You feel a glow of pride, soft but steady, and know tomorrow will bring more tasks, more water to carry, more herbs to pick. But for now, the chapel is enough, its whisper a lullaby that wraps around you, eternal and calm. If you're already half asleep, that's perfectly all right. Let the candles flicker and the chapel's stillness fade into your dreams, carrying you to a place of peace. The castle will hold you, just as it holds its prayers, safe and warm through the night. You rise slowly, the pew creaking softly, and follow the others toward the door, their footsteps muffled on the stone floor. The air outside is cool, carrying the scent of rain-soaked earth, and you pause, feeling the chapel's warmth linger on your skin. The stars are bright above, their light filtering through the clouds, and you hear the distant ripple of the moat, its water steady and unyielding. The castle sleeps, its people tucked into their beds or huddled by hearths, and you feel its rhythm, slow and comforting, guiding you toward rest. You pull your cloak tighter, the wool soft against your neck, and step into the courtyard, the stones cool underfoot. The chapel door closes behind you, its wooden thud gentle, and you glance back, the candlelight still glowing through the narrow windows. Father Edmund's voice echoes in your mind, a faint chant that blends with the night's silence, and you know the castle's heart beats on, its prayers rising like incense, its walls standing firm. You yawn again, your breath clouding in the air, and feel the day's peace settle over you, like a blanket drawn tight. The stars shine softly over Kenilworth's towers, and the chapel's glow fades into the night's embrace. The story drifts now, quiet as a whispered prayer, to another corner of this enduring world. The storehouse is cool and dim as you step inside, the scent of grain heavy in the air, like the breath of the earth itself. The wooden door creaks softly behind you, and your boots scuff on the packed dirt floor, stirring a faint cloud of dust that catches the light from a narrow window. You pause, letting your eyes adjust to the shadows, where sacks of barley and oats line the walls, their burlap rough and sagging under their weight. The storehouse, tucked beneath Kenilworth Castle's keep, is a cavern of quiet, its air thick with the musty sweetness of stored apples and the faint tang of salted fish. The siege has stretched into its 5th month, but here, in this shadowed vault, the castle's lifeblood is preserved, a promise that its 200 souls will endure. You adjust your wool tunic, its hem brushing your knees, and feel the coolness seep into your skin, a gentle contrast to the courtyard's midday warmth. You're a squire, bound to Sir William, but today the steward, Master Hugh, has called you to help tally the rations, a task as vital as polishing armor or tending the garden. He stands by a wooden table, his quill scratching softly on a wax tablet, his face lined but calm in the dim light. "Count the apples," he says, his voice low and steady, pointing to a barrel in the corner. You nod, crossing the floor, your footsteps muffled by the dust, and kneel beside the barrel, its wood smooth and cool under your hands. The apples inside are small, their skins waxy and slightly shriveled, but their faint sweetness rises as you lift one, turning it in your palm. You count slowly, each apple thudding softly as you set it in a basket, their weight grounding you in the task. The storehouse is silent, save for Master Hugh's quill and the occasional scurry of a rat in the shadows, its claws a faint scratch against the stone. You shoo it gently with your boot, the movement slow, and return to the apples, their scent mingling with the grain's earthy hum. You've heard the older squires say that sieges are won by stores like these. Barrels of grain, casks of ale, and baskets of roots, rationed carefully to outlast the enemy beyond the moat. The thought is comforting, like the castle's 20-foot thick walls or its 30-foot wide moat, glimmering under the stars. Master Hugh moves to a sack of barley, his fingers probing for dampness, and speaks of past sieges, when castles fell not to swords but to empty bellies. His voice is soft, almost a whisper, and you listen, the words blending with the storehouse's quiet. You finish the apples, 40 you tell him, your voice low to match his, and move to a crate of turnips, their skins rough and cool. You stack them carefully, their earthy scent rising, and feel the castle's patience in each small act, as if the storehouse itself is teaching you to endure day by day. If you're already drifting, let the scent of apples and the storehouse's cool shadows carry you gently into dreams, safe within these walls. You shift to a cask of ale, its wooden staves smooth but heavy, and check its seal, the wax firm under your fingers. Master Hugh nods, marking the tablet, and tells you the castle's well, 80 feet deep, carved into the earth, ensures they'll never thirst. You picture the well's dark shaft, its water cold and clear, and feel a quiet pride in the castle's foresight, its stores and springs a shield against the siege. The enemy's tents, half a mile beyond the moat, are unchanged, their fires mere pinpricks at night, and you wonder if they too count their rations, if they too feel time's slow wait. A faint light spills through the window, catching the dust motes that dance in the air, and you pause, the turnips forgotten for a moment. The storehouse feels like a sanctuary, its shadows soft and forgiving, and you let your thoughts wander, hazy as the dust. You think of the chapel's candles last night, their glow warm and steady, and the garden's herbs, their scent still lingering on your hands. The castle is a tapestry of small lives, knights, cooks, children, all bound by tasks like these. And you feel a part of it, your hands preserving its strength, your heart beating with its rhythm. You return to the turnips, their weight pulling at your arms, and stack the last few, the crate now full. Master Hugh hands you a broom, its handle worn smooth, and you sweep the floor, the bristles scratching softly, gathering dust and stray grains. The task is simple, unhurried, and you feel the siege's weight lift, replaced by the storehouse's calm. Sir William passes by the open door, his cloak brushing the frame, and glances inside, his nod a silent thanks. You smile, a small glow of pride warming your chest, and know your work here matters, as vital as his armor or his prayers. The broom's rhythm slows, and you lean against the wall, the stone cool against your back. The storehouse smells of earth and time now, its shadows deepening as the light shifts outside. You yawn, your jaw loosening, and feel the day's work settle into your limbs, heavy but comforting, like a blanket drawn tight. The siege is far from over, but here, in this quiet vault, it feels distant, like a whisper beyond the moat. You think of the barley porridge you'll eat tonight, its warmth filling your belly, and the ale, its bitterness softened by honey, shared among the castle's people. Master Hugh sets his tablet down, the wax glinting faintly, and stretches, his joints creaking like the door. He speaks of the castle's stores lasting months yet, if rationed with care, and you nod, though the numbers blur in your mind, soft as the dust underfoot. The storehouse is a promise, a heartbeat, and you feel its strength, like the walls that hold you, the moat that guards you. You set the broom aside, its bristles brushing the floor, and step toward the door, the air outside cool and sharp with the scent of rain-soaked stones. You glance back at the storehouse, its sacks and barrels a quiet army, and feel the castle's endurance in their stillness. The courtyard beyond is alive with soft sounds, a child's laugh, the clatter of a bucket, the distant toll of the chapel bell. And you step into it, the stones warm underfoot. The moat glimmers in the distance, its water steady and unyielding, and you know the castle will stand, its people waiting, its stores sustaining. Your thoughts grow hazy, like the clouds above, and you let them drift, the storehouse's shadows lingering in your mind, a lullaby of earth and grain. Sir William waits in the courtyard, his boots scuffing the gravel, and you join him, your cloak pulled tight against the breeze. He speaks of the day's tasks, his voice steady, and you listen, though the words fade, soft as the storehouse's dust. The castle endures, its rhythm slow and comforting, and you feel yourself sinking into it, your breath slowing, your body ready for rest. The storehouse's work is done, but its promise remains, a quiet vow that wraps around you, eternal and calm. You walk toward the keep, the stones cool now as the sun dips lower, and glance at the moat, its surface catching the light like a silver thread. The castle sleeps, its people moving through their days, and you know tomorrow will bring more tasks, more apples to count, more floors to sweep. But for now, the storehouse is enough, its shadows a haven, its scent a gentle guide toward rest. The sun sinks low, casting long shadows over Kenilworth stones, and the storehouse fades into the castle's quiet hum. The story drifts now, soft as a grain of dust, to another corner of this enduring world. The solar's narrow window lets in a soft beam of morning light, catching the dust motes that drift like tiny stars as you unroll a parchment on the oak table. The air carries the faint scent of ink and wax, and the quill's scratch is a gentle whisper in the quiet room. You smooth the parchment with your hand, its surface crinkled and slightly stiff, feeling the weight of the words it holds. The Solar, a small chamber high in Kenilworth Castle's keep, is a haven of calm, its stone walls softened by a faded tapestry of a forest scene, its greens and browns muted by time. The siege has stretched into its 5th month, but here, in this quiet space, the world feels lighter, as if the words on the parchment carry hope across the moat's 30-foot span. You're a squire bound to Sir William, and today he's tasked you with helping read letters brought by a messenger who slipped through the enemy's lines at dawn, his cloak still damp with dew. The parchment is from a distant ally, its ink smudged but legible, and you read aloud to Sir William, who sits on a wooden stool, his graying hair catching the light. Your voice is soft, careful, as you speak of reinforcements gathering in a far-off shire, their banners promised but not yet seen. Sir William listens, his eyes distant, and you feel the weight of his hope, steady as the castle's 20-foot thick walls. The words are few, the message brief, but they're a thread connecting Kenilworth to the world beyond, a reminder that the siege is not forever. You pause, the parchment curling slightly under your fingers, and breathe in the scent of wax, warm and earthy, from the seal you broke moments ago. You move to another letter, this one for Sir Thomas, a younger knight with a quick smile. It's from his wife, her script small and careful, and you read of their village, its harvest thin but enduring, its people praying for the castle's strength. The words are simple, news of a newborn calf, a repaired roof, but they bring a softness to Sir Thomas's face, and you feel the castle's heart in them, its 200 souls bound by such small, vital hopes. You set the parchment down, its edges brushing the table, and fetch a fresh one, the quill's feather soft against your palm as you hand it to Sir William. He writes his own letter, his hand steady, the ink glistening wetly in the light. If your thoughts are drifting now, let them float. The quill's soft scratch and the solar's gentle light are carrying you, like a leaf on a quiet stream, toward a place of rest. The solar is warm, the air heavy with the scent of old wood and parchment, and you lean against the table, its surface worn smooth by years of hands. A single candle burns nearby, its flame steady, casting a golden glow that dances on the tapestry's woven trees. You think of the messenger, his horse's hooves muffled in the pre-dawn mist, and marvel at his courage, slipping past the enemy's tents half a mile away. The older squires say messengers are the castle's lifeline, carrying words that sustain spirits as much as the storehouse's barley sustains bodies. You feel a quiet pride in your task, knowing these letters, like the herbs in the garden or the steel in the armory, keep Kenilworth alive. Sir William seals his letter, the wax dripping slowly, its scent sharp and sweet. You press the seal, feeling the soft give of the wax, and set it aside, the parchment now a small packet of hope. You move to a window, its glass warped but clear, and gaze out at the courtyard below, where a servant hauls a bucket, its water sloshing softly. The moat glimmers beyond, its surface catching the morning light, and you imagine the messenger riding out tonight, his cloak blending with the shadows. The thought is fleeting, like a breeze through the solar, and you let it go, your fingers tracing the table's grain, smooth and cool. You return to the letters, sorting them carefully, their edges crinkling as you stack them for the nights. One speaks of a market town, its stalls quiet but open, another of a priest blessing the fields. Each word is a thread, weaving the castle into the world beyond, and you feel its strength, like the chapel's prayers or the storehouse's grain. Sir William rises, his cloak rustling, and speaks of patience, his voice low and steady. "Words keep us whole," he says, and you nod, though the letters blur in your mind, their meaning softening into a gentle hum. The solar's light shifts, the sun climbing higher, and you yawn, your jaw loosening, as the day's work settles into your limbs. The siege is far from over, but here, in this quiet chamber, it feels distant, like a cloud beyond the moat. You think of the great hall's fire, its warmth last night, and the garden's herbs, their scent still lingering on your hands. The castle is a world of small acts, writing, reading, waiting, and you feel a part of it, your hands shaping its hope, your heart beating with its rhythm. You carry the letters to a wooden box, its lid creaking softly, and place them inside, their weight light but vital. The solar smells of wax and dust now, the candle burning lower, its glow a soft amber that wraps around you. You glance at the tapestry, its forest seeming to sway in the light, and let your thoughts drift, hazy as the dust motes in the air. The castle endures, its walls, its moat, its words, and you are part of its steady rhythm. Your task's a lullaby that carries you toward rest. Sir William steps to the door, his boots scuffing the stone, and glances back, his nod a silent thanks. You follow, the parchment scent lingering on your fingers, and step into the corridor, its air cool and sharp with the smell of damp stone. The keep hums with soft sounds, a servant's footsteps, a child's laugh, the distant toll of the chapel bell, and you feel the castle's life around you, steady and unhurried. The letters are safe, their words waiting to lift spirits, and you know tomorrow will bring more tasks, more water to fetch, more steel to polish. But for now, the solar is enough, its quiet a haven, its light a gentle guide. You walk down the spiral stairs, the stones cool underfoot, and pause at a window, the moat's glimmer catching your eye. The enemy's tents are faint specks, their threat softened by distance, and you let the sight fade, your breath slowing, your body sinking into the moment. The castle's heart beats on, its letters a promise, its walls a shield, and you feel yourself drifting, like a parchment carried on the wind, toward a quiet place of rest. The sun climbs higher, bathing Kenilworth's stones in a gentle glow, and the solar's light fades into the castle's quiet hum. The story drifts now, soft as a sealed letter, to another corner of this enduring world. The great hall glows with the soft light of extra candles, their flames flickering like tiny stars as you carry a wooden platter across the rush-strewn floor. The air is warm with the scents of fresh-baked bread and stewed apples, and the hum of voices wraps around you, gentle as a hearth's embrace. You step carefully, the platter heavy with rounds of coarse barley bread, their crusts still warm from the oven. The great hall of Kenilworth Castle is alive tonight, its stone walls softened by the candlelight that dances on faded tapestries of hunts and saints. The siege has stretched into its 6th month, but this evening, the weight of waiting lifts, carried away by the simple joy of a feast for St. Michael's Day, patron of warriors. The hall is full but not loud. Knights in plain tunics, servants with patched cloaks, children clutching wooden spoons. All gathered around trestle tables, their faces softened by the glow. You feel the castle's heart in this moment, its 200 souls bound by shared warmth and hope. You're a squire, bound to Sir William. And tonight your task is to serve, weaving through the benches with your platter, the rushes beneath your boots releasing a faint scent of lavender and thyme. You pause to offer bread to Sister Agnes, her gray robes brushing the table, and she smiles, her hands rough but gentle as she takes a piece. The bread's crust crumbles slightly, its barley scent rising, and you move on, the platter lighter now, your wool tunic tugging at your shoulders. The hall hums with soft laughter and murmurs, a tapestry of voices weaving stories of past feasts, of fields before the siege, of St. Michael's wings guarding the castle's walls. A minstrel sits by the hearth, his lute strings plucked in a slow, joyful melody that curls through the air like smoke. You glance at him, his fingers moving with quiet grace, and feel the music settle over you, loosening your thoughts. The feast is modest, bread, cheese, stewed apples, and a thin broth, but it feels like a gift, a break in the siege's endless rhythm. You set the platter down and fetch a pitcher of ale, its wooden handle smooth and cool, the liquid sloshing softly as you pour for Sir William. He sits at the high table, his graying hair catching the candlelight, and raises his cup in a toast to St. Michael, his voice low but steady. To strength, he says, and the hall echoes softly, cups clinking like distant bells. You take a moment to lean against a pillar, the stone cool against your back, and watch the hall. A child giggles, stealing a bit of cheese from her brother's plate, and a knight tells a tale of a tournament, his hands tracing the arc of a lance. The air smells of apples now, their sweetness mingling with wood smoke, and you breathe it in, your shoulders easing. You think of the storehouse's barrels, their apples counted just days ago, and the garden's herbs, their thyme flavoring the broth. The castle endures, its moat 30 feet wide, its walls 20 feet thick, and this feast is its quiet defiance, a moment of life amid the weight. If your eyelids are drooping now, let them fall. The lute's gentle notes and the hall's warm glow are carrying you, like a soft tide, toward a place of rest. You move to the hearth, the fire's warmth kissing your face, and help a servant carry a cauldron of broth, its steam rising in delicate curls. The iron handle is warm through the cloth you hold, and you ladle the broth into bowls, its scent savory and thin but comforting. You taste a spoonful yourself, the warmth spreading through your chest, and feel the castle's unity in each shared sip. Sir William catches your eye, his smile rare but kind, and you feel a glow of pride, knowing your tasks, carrying bread, pouring ale, bind you to this moment, to the castle's heart. The minstrel's melody shifts to a hymn, slow and reverent, and you pause, the cauldron set aside, to listen. The notes are simple, their cadence like a prayer, and you feel the chapel's echo in them, its candles burning in your memory. You think of Sir William's letter, written yesterday in the solar, its words of hope sealed with wax, and realize this feast is another kind of letter, written in bread and song, sent to the castle's people. The siege is far from over, but tonight it feels distant, like a shadow beyond the moat, and the hall's warmth is all that matters. You return to the tables, clearing empty bowls, there would slick with broth, and notice a knight carving a small cross into a crust of bread, his fingers steady. He tucks it into his tunic, a talisman for St. Michael's protection, and you think of the cross you traced in the chapel's pew, its wood worn by countless hands. The castle is a world of small faiths, prayers, feasts, letters, and you feel a part of it, your hands serving its hope, your heart beating with its rhythm. You yawn, your jaw loosening, and let the day's work settle into your limbs, heavy but comforting, like a blanket drawn tight. The candles burn lower, their light softening to a golden haze, and the hall grows quieter, the voices fading to a gentle hum. A child curls up on a bench, her head on her mother's lap, and you feel your own thoughts grow hazy, like the smoke curling toward the rafters. The minstrel's hymn ends, the final note lingering like a sigh, and you watch the fire, its embers glowing like tiny stars. The castle endures, its walls, its moat, its feasts, and you are part of its steady rhythm. Your task's a lullaby that wraps around you, soft and eternal. Sir William rises, his cloak brushing the table, and nods to you, his eyes steady. You follow him to the door, the rushes soft underfoot, and step into the courtyard, the air cool and sharp with the scent of damp stone. The stars are bright above, their light filtering through the clouds, and you hear the moat's faint ripple, its water steady and unyielding. The hall's warmth lingers on your skin, the bread's scent on your hands, and you know tomorrow will bring more tasks. More water to fetch, more steel to polish. But for now, the feast is enough, its joy a haven, its glow a gentle guide. You walk toward the squire's quarters, the stones cool underfoot, and glance back at the hall, its candlelight spilling through the windows. The minstrel's lute echoes in your mind, a faint melody that blends with the night's silence, and you feel the castle's heart beat on, its feast a vow of endurance, its walls a shield. Your breath slows, your body sinking into the moment, and you let the night's peace settle over you, like a cloak drawn tight, guiding you toward rest. The stars shine softly over Kenilworth's towers, and the great hall's glow fades into the night's quiet embrace. The story drifts now, soft as a candle's flicker, to another corner of this enduring world. Frost dusts the courtyard like a scattering of silver as you haul a bundle of firewood, its bark rough and cold against your hands. The air bites your cheeks, carrying the sharp scent of pine and the faint smoke of distant hearths, and your breath clouds in the early morning light. You shift the firewood in your arms, its weight pulling at your shoulders, and step carefully across the courtyard, where the stones are slick with a thin sheen of ice. Kenilworth Castle's towers loom above, their red sandstone dulled by the gray sky, and the moat, 30 feet wide, glimmers with a fragile crust of frost. The siege has stretched into its 6th month, winter's grip tightening around the fortress, but the castle's 200 souls move through their days with quiet resolve, their routines a shield against the cold. You're a squire, bound to Sir William, and today your task is to keep the hearths burning, a small but vital act in this season of scarcity. You reach the great hall, its heavy door creaking as you push it open, and the warmth inside brushes your face, carrying the scent of wood smoke and stale bread. You stack the logs by the hearth, their resin sharp in your nose, and kneel to arrange them, the stone floor cold through your wool breeches. The fire is low, its embers glowing faintly, and you add a log, watching the flames catch, their soft crackle blending with the murmur of servants sweeping the rushes. The hall is quieter now than during St. Michael's feast, its tapestries gathering dust, but the hearth's glow is a steady promise, warming the castle's heart. Sir William enters, his cloak heavy with frost, and stamps his boots, the ice flaking onto the floor. He wears no armor today. Too cold, he says, the steel biting through leather, and you notice the extra tunic beneath his cloak, its hem frayed but thick. He nods to you, his breath clouding, and speaks of the winter's challenge, his voice low and steady. Fuel is as precious as food, he says, glancing at the logs. You've heard the steward say the castle's wood is rationed, each fire kept small to last the season, and you feel the weight of your task, knowing each log you carry sustains the castle's life. You rise, the hearth's warmth lingering on your hands, and fetch a needle and thread from a servant's basket, its wicker creaking softly. A torn blanket waits on a bench, its wool worn thin, and you sit to mend it, the needle pricking your fingers as you stitch. The task is slow, the thread coarse, and you focus on each loop, the blanket's weight comforting across your lap. Sir William sits nearby, sharpening a dagger, its whetstone scraping softly, and tells you of his youth, when he weathered a winter siege as a squire, his hands chapped and his belly half empty. His words are gentle, weaving through the hall's quiet, and you picture him young, his graying hair dark, his eyes just as steady. The blanket's tear closes, the stitches uneven but strong, and you set it aside, your fingers stiff from the cold. You think of the storehouse, its apples and barley counted weeks ago, and the garden, its herbs now withered under frost. Winter tests the castle, its rations stretched, its fires dim, but the people endure their tasks, mending, hauling, praying, a quiet defiance. You glance at the moat through a narrow window, its ice glinting faintly, and imagine the enemy's camp, half a mile away, their tents sagging under snow. Do they feel the cold as keenly, you wonder, their fires as precious? The thought fades, soft as the frost melting on the glass. You step outside to fetch more wood, the air sharp in your lungs, and pause by the stables, where a horse snorts, its breath warm against your hand as you pat its flank. The courtyard is still, save for a child scraping ice from a bucket, her laughter a bright note in the gray morning. You gather another bundle of logs, their bark splintering slightly, and carry them to the chapel, its door ajar, releasing the faint scent of wax. Sister Agnes kneels inside, her gray robes pooling on the stone, and you stack the wood quietly, the fire's glow catching the cross above the altar. The chapel's warmth is faint but steady, a reminder of last week's prayers, their chant still echoing in your mind. Sir William joins you in the courtyard, his cloak dusted with fresh snow, and speaks of the knight's resolve, their training light to save strength. You nod, your breath clouding, and think of their armor, 60 pounds of steel left in the armory, too cold to wear. The castle's strength lies not in swords but in its people, their hands busy, their hearts patient. You carry the last bundle to the keep, the spiral stairs cool underfoot, and pause at a window, the moat's ice now sparkling under a weak sun. The castle endures, its walls, its moat, its fires, and you feel a part of its rhythm, your tasks a thread in its tapestry. The keep's hearth is small, its fire barely warming the stone walls, and you stack the logs carefully, their weight grounding you. A servant passes, her arms full of mended cloaks, and you think of the blanket you stitched, its wool now warming a child's sleep. The castle is a world of small acts, fires lit, tears sown, letters read, and you feel their importance like the well's 80-foot depth or the storehouse's grain. Sir William waits by the hearth, his dagger now sharp, and nods to you, his eyes steady. "Good work, lad," he says, and you feel a glow of pride, soft but enduring, like the embers before you. You step into the courtyard again, the snow falling gently now, its flakes catching in your hair. The air smells of ice and smoke, and you breathe it in, your thoughts growing hazy, like the clouds above. The siege is far from over, but the winter's chill is just another test, met with logs and stitches, with quiet stories by the hearth. You think of Sir William's tale, his young hands chapped, and feel the castle's history in your own, your fingers red from the cold but steady. The moat glimmers, its ice a quiet shield, and you know the castle will stand, its people waiting, its fires burning low but true. You walk toward the squire's quarters, the stones slick underfoot, and glance at the great hall, its candlelight faint through the windows. The day's work settles into your bones, heavy but comforting, and you know tomorrow will bring more tasks, more wood to haul, more blankets to mend. But for now, the courtyard is enough, its frost a quiet canvas, its silence a gentle guide. You pull your cloak tighter, the wool soft against your neck, and feel the castle's rhythm, slow and unhurried, wrapping around you like a promise of rest. The snow falls softly over Kenilworth's stones, cloaking the castle in a gentle hush, and the hearths fade to glowing embers. The story drifts now, quiet as a flake's descent, to another corner of this enduring world. The keep's shadows flicker as you light a torch, its flame soft and wavering, casting a warm glow on the spiral staircase's worn stones. The air carries the faint scent of pitch and damp moss, and your boots echo faintly in the quiet, a steady rhythm against the winter's chill. You hold the torch higher, its heat brushing your face, and climb the narrow stairs, each step cool and smooth underfoot. Kenilworth Castle's keep looms around you, its red sandstone walls a silent shield against the siege, now in its 7th month. The moat, 30 feet wide, lies frozen beyond, and the enemy's camp, Half a mile away is a scattering of snow-dusted tents, their fires dim. The castle's 200 souls endure, their days a tapestry of small tasks. But winter's grip and shrinking rations have woven threads of strain into their quiet resolve. You're a squire, bound to Sir William, and tonight you're tasked with carrying the torch to the watchtower, a simple act to keep the night at bay. You reach the landing, the air colder here, and pause to adjust your wool cloak, its hem heavy with frost from the courtyard. The keep smells of old wax and stone, a familiar comfort, and you think of the great hall's hearth, its embers glowing faintly after last week's fire. Rations are tighter now, half a loaf of barley bread, a thin slice of salted fish, and you feel the hunger's edge, a dull ache in your belly. The storehouse's barrels, once brimming, are half empty, and Master Hugh's tablet tracks each morsel with care. You push the thought aside, your torch's flame steady, and continue upward, the stairs curving like a river through the castle's heart. In the watchtower, you fix the torch in an iron sconce, its light spilling across the stone parapet. The sky is a deep gray, heavy with unshed snow, and the moat's ice glints faintly below, a silver ribbon guarding the castle's 20-foot thick walls. You lean against the stone, its roughness grounding you, and gaze at the enemy's camp, their tents unchanged, their silence a mirror of your own. A faint clatter rises from the courtyard, knights rolling dice by a brazier, and you overhear a sharp word, a rare spark of tension. Sir William steps from the shadows, his cloak brushing the stone, and soothes the men, his voice low and calm, like the chapel's chant. You follow him to the courtyard, the torch left burning above, and help mend a ladder, its wooden rungs splintered from use. The brazier's heat is faint, its coals glowing red, and you kneel, the gravel cold through your breeches, to tie a new rung with twine, its fibers rough against your fingers. Sir William works beside you, his hand steady despite the cold, and speaks of patience, of knights who endure not by fighting, but by holding fast. You nod, the twines not tightening, and think of the letters read in the solar, their words of hope now a distant memory. The siege tests the castle's spirit, its rations thin, its fires low, but Sir William's calm is an anchor, binding the men together. You finish the ladder, its wood creaking softly, and carry it to the armory, the air thick with coal dust and oiled steel. John, the armorer, nods to you, his face ruddy from the forge, and you set the ladder against the wall, its weight pulling at your arms. The armory is quieter now, the knight's armor, 60 pounds of steel and chainmail, stacked and used, too cold to wear. You think of the blanket you mended last week, its wool warming a child, and the firewood hauled to the chapel, its logs sustaining prayer. The castle is a world of small acts, each one a thread against the siege's strain, and you feel their weight, like the twine in your hands. Sir William leads you to the great hall, its hearth a pile of embers, and you sit on a bench, the wood smooth beneath you. A servant passes a half loaf, its crust hard but welcome, and you break it, the barley's faint sweetness rising. The hall is dim, the candles rationed, but the tapestries catch the firelight, their hunts and saints a quiet comfort. A knight argues over a dice game, his voice sharp, and you feel the tension ripple, like a stone dropped in the moat. Sir William rises, his cloak rustling, and speaks of shared burdens, his words gentle but firm, and the men soften, their laughter returning, soft as the embers glow. You chew the bread slowly, its texture coarse, and think of the garden, its herbs buried under snow, and the storehouse, its barrels dwindling. The castle's well, 80 feet deep, still flows, its water cold and clear, but the food grows scarcer, each meal a careful gift. You glance at Sir William, his face lined but steady, and feel his strength, like the walls that hold you, the moat that guards you. The siege is a test of time, not swords, and the castle endures, its people bound by tasks, mending, hauling, waiting, and you are part of its rhythm, your hands busy, your heart patient. You rise, the bench creaking, and follow Sir William to the courtyard, the air sharp with the scent of snow. The moat's ice glints under the stars, and you hear a distant owl, its call faint and lonely. The enemy's fires are specks, their threat dulled by distance, and you let the sight fade, your thoughts softening, like the frost on the stones. The castle sleeps, its people tucked by hearths or under blankets, and you feel its quiet resolve, a lullaby of stone and ice. Sir William claps your shoulder, his hand warm through your cloak, and you nod, a glow of pride steady in your chest. You walk toward the squire's quarters, the gravel crunching underfoot, and glance at the watchtower, your torches flame a faint star above. The great hall's embers linger in your mind, their warmth a memory against the cold, and you think of Sir William's words, his calm soothing the men. The siege's strain is real, hunger, cold, sharp words, but the castle holds fast, its walls, its moat, its people. You pull your cloak tighter, the wool soft against your neck, and feel the day's work settle into your bones, heavy but enduring, like the stones beneath you. The snow begins to fall, its flakes soft on your face, and you pause by the chapel, its cross a shadow in the starlight. The castle's heart beats on, its tasks a vow of survival, its silence a gentle guide. You know tomorrow will bring more ladders to mend, more bread to share. But for now, the courtyard is enough, its frost a quiet canvas, its hush a promise. You step toward your quarters, the doors creak soft, and let the night's peace wrap around you, steady and calm. The snow falls gently over Kenilworth stones, cloaking the castle in a silent veil, and the watchtower's flame fades into the night. The story drifts now, quiet as a snowflake's glide, to another corner of this enduring world. The garden's earth stirs beneath your fingers, soft and damp, as you kneel beside a patch of soil, the faint scent of fresh grass rising in the morning air. A single daisy sways nearby, its petals fragile but bright, catching the pale sunlight that breaks through Kenilworth Castle's lingering mist. You pause, your hands cradling a clod of earth, its coolness seeping into your skin, and breathe in the green promise of spring. The garden, tucked behind the chapel's stone walls, is waking after winter's long sleep, its rows of thyme and sage showing tiny shoots, like whispers of hope. The siege has stretched into its 8th month, but the frost has retreated, the moat's ice now a glimmering ribbon of water, 30 feet wide, reflecting the sky. The castle's 200 souls feel the shift, their steps lighter on the courtyard stones, their voices softer with cautious joy. You're a squire, bound to Sir William, and today you're tasked with tending the garden, a quiet act that binds you to the castle's renewal. You pluck a weed, its roots slipping free with a faint tug, and set it aside, the soil dark against your fingers. Sister Agnes works nearby, her gray robes brushing the earth as she waters a bed of mint, the clay jug glinting in the sun. She hums a hymn, its notes blending with the buzz of a bee landing on the daisy, and you feel the garden's peace settle over you, like the chapel's candlelight or the great hall's embers. The herbs will flavor broths and soothe aches, their growth a small defiance against the enemy's tents, half a mile beyond the moat, their banners faded but still standing. You glance at the castle's 20-foot thick walls, their red sandstone warmed by the sun, and know they hold fast, as steady as the earth beneath you. Sir William passes by, his cloak free of winter's frost, and pauses to lean against the garden wall, his eyes scanning the horizon. He speaks of rumors, whispered in letters carried by messengers, that peace talks stir in distant halls. His voice is low, cautious, but the hope in it is like the daisy's bloom, fragile yet enduring. You nod, brushing dirt from your hands, and think of the storehouse, its barrels nearly empty, and the well, 80 feet deep, still giving clear water. Spring brings relief, you've heard the older squires say, when armies tire and supplies dwindle, and you feel the castle's patience, its months of waiting now touched by a faint promise. You fetch a wooden rake, its handle worn smooth, and level the soil, the tines scratching softly, like a quill on parchment. The garden smells of earth and dew, a sharp contrast to the armory's cold dust or the keep's damp stone, and you let the scent fill you, your thoughts softening. A sparrow flits onto the wall, its claws clicking faintly, and you watch it hop, its wings a blur before it darts away. The courtyard beyond hums with life. A child chases a hoop, its clatter bright, and a servant hauls a bucket, its water sloshing. The castle is stirring, its people buoyed by the sun's warmth, their tasks, mending, fetching, planting, a quiet song of renewal. Sir William kneels beside you, his hands surprising you with their gentleness as he presses a thyme sprig into the soil. He speaks of his manor, far beyond the moat, where spring paints the fields green, and you picture it, meadows soft underfoot, a river glinting like the castle's well. His words weave through the garden's hum, and you feel a memory of your own village, its fields waking like this garden, its air sharp with hope. The thought is gentle, fading like the mist, and you return to the rake, its rhythm steady, the earth yielding beneath it. You move to the mint, its leaves cool and slick, and pluck a sprig, its scent sharp in your nose. Sister Agnes takes it, her basket creaking, and tells you the mint will ease a child's fever, its leaves a gift from the earth. You think of the feast of Saint Michael, its broth flavored with herbs, and the letters read in the solar, their words lifting spirits. The garden is another gift, its growth a thread in the castle's tapestry, and you feel a part of it, your hands nurturing its life, your heart beating with its rhythm. The sun climbs higher, warming your back through your tunic, and you pause to wipe your brow, the earth scent clinging to your skin. The moat glimmers, its water rippling softly, and you hear the distant clink of a knight's armor, its 60 pounds of steel now worn again in the milder air. Sir William rises, his cloak brushing the wall, and nods to you, his eyes steady but softer, touched by spring's light. You feel a glow of pride, knowing your tasks, raking, planting, waiting, bind you to the castle's hope, as vital as his sword or his prayers. You carry the rake to the chapel's edge, its stones warm underfoot, and glance at the daisy, its petals bright against the soil. The siege's strain, hunger, cold, sharp words, lingers in memory, but spring's bloom dulls its edge, like the sun dulls the moat's glare. You think of Sir William's words, his hope for peace, and let the thought settle, soft as the bees hum. The castle endures, its walls, its moat, its garden, and you are part of its steady rhythm, your hands busy, your spirit patient. The courtyard grows busier, a servant calling to another, their voices bright, and you step into it, the earth's warmth lingering on your knees. The chapel bell tolls, a low hum that blends with the breeze, and you think of its prayers, their chant a vow of endurance. The enemy's tents are faint specks, their threat softened by distance, and you let the sight fade, your thoughts turning to the keep's hearth, its fire waiting to warm the evening. Sir William walks ahead, his boots scuffing the gravel, and you follow, the garden scent on your hands, a quiet promise of renewal. You pause by the moat, its water catching the sunlight like a silver thread, and feel the castle's heart beat on, its spring a gentle awakening. The siege is not over, but the daisies bloom, the thyme's sprig, the rumors of peace. They are enough for today, a canvas of hope against the stone walls. You pull your cloak tighter, the wool soft against your neck, and walk toward the keep, the stones steady underfoot. Tomorrow will bring more tasks, more earth to turn, more water to fetch. But for now, the garden is enough, its stillness a haven, its bloom a gentle guide. The sun arcs higher, bathing Kenilworth's stones in a golden light, and the garden's green fades into the castle's quiet hum. The story drifts now, soft as a petal's fall, to another corner of this enduring world. The castle gates creak open, their heavy timbers groaning as sunlight spills into the courtyard, bathing the worn stones in a golden glow. You stand by the edge, your boots sinking into the soft earth, the air sharp with the scent of fresh grass and the moat's cool mist. You clutch a folded banner in your arms, its woolen cloth rough but warm, its red cross faded for months under Kenilworth Castle's shadow. The siege, now in its 9th month, is ending, not with the clash of swords or the thunder of catapults, but with a quiet truce, sealed in distant halls and carried by a messenger at dawn. The enemy's tents, half a mile beyond the moat, are being struck, their canvas flapping as men pack their carts, their fires cold. You breathe deeply, the spring air carrying the tang of dew and the faint sweetness of blooming daisies, and feel the castle's 200 souls stir, their steps lighter, their voices a soft hum of relief. You're a squire, bound to Sir William, and today your task is to carry the banner to the battlements, a symbol of the castle's endurance. You cross the courtyard, the stones warm underfoot, and climb the spiral stairs, their sandstone edges worn smooth by countless boots. The keep smells of damp straw and old wax, a familiar comfort, and you pause at a narrow window, the moat's 30-foot span glimmering below, its water rippling in the breeze. The castle's walls, 20 feet thick, stand as they have for months, unyielding, and you feel their strength in your bones, like the earth's pulse in the garden you tended yesterday. At the battlements, you unfurl the banner, its cloth catching the wind, and tie it to a pole, the twine coarse against your fingers. The red cross flaps gently, its edges frayed but proud, and you gaze out, the enemy's camp now a scattering of carts fading into the horizon. Sir William joins you, his cloak free of winter's frost, and rests a hand on the parapet, his graying hair glinting in the sun. "We held," he says, his voice low but warm, and you nod, feeling the weight of those words, like the banner's cloth in your hands. The siege's end is no victory of blades, but of patience, months of rations, prayers, and small tasks, woven into the castle's enduring tapestry. You descend to the courtyard, the banner's shadow trailing above, and hear the chapel bell toll, its sound bright and clear, like the spring's first bloom. Servants gather, their buckets clattering softly, and children run, their laughter echoing off the stones. The great hall's door is open, its hearth cold but its tapestries catching the light, their hunts and saints a quiet testament to the months endured. You think of the storehouse's dwindling barrels, the garden's time, the solar's letters, each a thread in the castle's survival, and feel a glow of pride, knowing your tasks, carrying wood, mending blankets, reading words, were part of it. Sir William leads you to the gate, where knights embrace their armor, 60 pounds of steel, clinking softly, worn again in the warmer air. You pause by the moat, its water sparkling, and watch a duck glide across, its ripples spreading like hope. The air smells of grass and earth now, the winter's bite gone, and you think of the enemy, their tents packed, their march begun. Did they too feel the siege's strain, their rations thin, their fires low? The thought is fleeting, like a cloud passing the sun, and you let it go, your hands brushing the banner's hem, its wool soft against your skin. You follow Sir William to the great hall, where a modest meal is laid, barley bread, a thin broth, the last of the storehouse's apples. You break a crust, its texture coarse but warm, and chew slowly, the apple's faint sweetness lingering. The hall is quieter than St. Michael's feast, but its warmth is deeper, a shared relief that fills the air like the chapel's incense. A minstrel strums a lute, its notes slow and joyful, and you listen, the melody weaving through your thoughts, like the letters that lifted spirits in the solar. The castle endured, its people bound by small acts, prayers, herbs, fires, and you feel a part of it, your heart beating with its rhythm. You step outside, the courtyard bustling now, a cart creaking as servants load mended cloaks and empty barrels. The moat glimmers, its water a silver thread, and you think of the well, 80 feet deep, its flow never faltering. Sir William pauses by the chapel, his head bowed briefly, and you join him, the stone wall cool against your hand. The cross above the door catches the sunlight, its wood worn but steady, and you think of the prayers offered there, their chant a vow that carried you through winter. The siege's end is a quiet miracle, a testament to the castle's patience, and you feel its weight, like the banner you tied above. Sir William claps your shoulder, his hand warm through your cloak, and speaks of the road ahead, of fields to sow and manors to rebuild. His eyes are steady, touched by spring's light, and you nod, a glow of pride warming your chest. You think of your village, its meadows waking like the garden, and let the thought settle, soft as the grass underfoot. The castle is opening, its gates wide, its people stepping into the world, but its walls remain, a silent promise of strength. You walk toward the keep, the stones warm and steady, and hear a child laugh, the sound bright against the moat's ripple. The sun climbs higher, bathing the courtyard in gold, and you pause by the garden, its daisies swaying in the breeze. The siege's end feels like a breath held too long, released at last, and you let it wash over you, your thoughts softening, like the earth after rain. The castle's heart beats on, its walls, its moat, its people, and you are part of its story, your tasks a thread in its tapestry. You pull your cloak tighter, the wool soft against your neck, and feel the day's peace settle into your bones, heavy but joyful, like the banner flapping above. You glance at the battlements, the red cross catching the wind, and know tomorrow will bring new tasks, fields to walk, letters to write, a world to rebuild. But for now, the courtyard is enough, its sunlight a canvas, its hum a gentle guide. Sir William walks ahead, his boots scuffing the gravel, and you follow, the moat's glimmer in your eye, the castle's strength in your heart. The siege is over, its strain fading like winter's frost, and you step forward, the air sweet with spring, ready for what lies beyond. The sun arcs high over Kenilworth stones, and the castle's gates stand open, its people stirring in the spring's warm light. The story drifts now, soft as a banner's flap, to another corner of this enduring world. The dusty road stretches before you, its gravel crunching softly under your boots as you walk away from Kenilworth Castle, the morning sun warming your back. The air carries the scent of fresh grass and distant blossoms, and the castle's red sandstone walls fade into the haze, a steady silhouette against the spring sky. You adjust the small bundle slung over your shoulder, its ruffle brushing your neck, the weight of a few belongings, a cloak, a wooden cup, a sprig of thyme from the garden, light but grounding. The siege, ended days ago after 9 months, lingers in your memory like a half-remembered dream, its weight lifted but its echoes deep. The moat, 30 feet wide, glimmers faintly behind you, its water rippling in the breeze, and the castle's 20-foot thick walls stand as they always have, a testament to the 200 souls who endured within. You're a squire, bound to Sir William, but today you walk with him toward his manor, the road a new chapter after months of waiting. The gravel shifts underfoot, small stones scattering, and you glance back at the castle, its towers catching the sunlight like beacons. Sir William walks beside you, his cloak free of dust, his steps steady despite the weight of his armor, packed now in a cart that creaks behind you. He speaks of the fields ahead, their soil ready for sowing, and you listen, his voice low and calm, like the chapel's chant or the great hall's fire. The siege taught you patience, he says, not just in knights but in all, squires, cooks, children. And you feel the truth of it, your hands still carrying the memory of mended blankets, polished steel, and garden earth. You pause by a stream, its water gurgling over smooth stones, and kneel to fill your cup, that would cool in your hands. The water is clear, tasting of spring, and you sip slowly, the stream song blending with the rustle of leaves overhead. You think of the castle's well, 80 feet deep, its flow never faltering, and the storehouse's barrels, their grain sustaining you through winter. The siege was a world of small acts, raking soil, lighting torches, reading letters, and you feel their strength in you now, like the road's steady path underfoot. Sir William kneels beside you, splashing water on his face, and smiles, his graying hair glinting, a rare softness in his eyes. The road climbs gently, the air sweet with clover and wildflowers, and you breathe it in, your thoughts softening, like the dust settling behind you. A cart passes, its driver whistling, and you hear a lark's song, its notes bright against the sky. The enemy's tents are gone, their camp a memory, and you wonder what they carried home. Hunger, hope, or simply relief. The thought fades, soft as the breeze, and you let it go, your fingers brushing the thyme sprig in your bundle, its faint scent a reminder of the garden's bloom. Sir William points to a distant hill, its slope green with new grass, and speaks of his manor, its stone walls smaller but warm, its fields waiting for your hands. You picture it, meadows stretching to a river, and feel a stir of home, your village's fields not so different, their earth rich under your feet. The castle taught you endurance, its walls a shield, its moat a promise, and you carry that with you, like the sprig in your bundle, small but vital. You walk on, the gravel crunching, and hear the cart's wheels creak, a steady rhythm that blends with the lark's song. The sun climbs higher, warming your tunic, and you pause to rest on a fallen log, its bark rough but worn smooth. Sir William sits beside you, his cloak pooling on the ground, and tells a story of a squire who became a knight, his courage forged not in battle but in quiet tasks. You listen, the words weaving through the breeze, and feel a glow of pride, knowing your own tasks. Hauling wood, serving bread, tying banners, were part of Kenilworth's strength. The castle endures in your memory, its chapel's cross, its great hall's embers, its garden's daisies, and you are part of its story, a thread in its tapestry. You rise, the log creaking faintly, and walk on, the road curving through a copse of trees, their leaves whispering in the wind. The air smells of pine now, sharp and clean, and you think of the armory's coal dust, the solar's wax, the courtyard's frost. Each task was a vow, each day a step, and you feel their weight, light but steady, like the bundle on your shoulder. Sir William walks ahead, his shadow long on the gravel, and you follow, the castle's silhouette smaller now, its towers blending with the hills. You glance back, the Red Cross banner faint on the battlements, and know it will stand, as you will, beyond this road. The manor comes into view, its stone walls low and weathered, a river glinting nearby, and you pause, the sight stirring a warmth in your chest. Sir William waves, his hand steady, and you wave back, the thyme scent rising as you shift your bundle. The siege is over, its strain fading like winter's ice, and you feel the spring's promise, its fields open, its skies wide. The castle taught you to endure, its knights, Sir William, Sir Thomas, showing you strength and patience in small acts that held the walls. You step toward the manor, the gravel soft underfoot, and know the road ahead will bring new tasks, sowing, building, living. But for now, this moment is enough, its sunlight a canvas, its air a gentle guide. You think of the great hall's feast, its broth warm in your belly, and the chapel's prayers, their chant a vow of hope. The castle's heart beats in you still, its moat, its walls, its people, and you carry it forward, like the sprig in your bundle, a quiet promise of renewal. Sir William opens the manor's gate, its iron creaking softly, and you step through, the grass brushing your boots, the river's song welcoming you. The road behind fades, its dust settling, and you feel the day's peace settle into your bones, steady and joyful, like the sunlight on your face. The sun arcs high over the manor's fields, and Kenilworth's stones fade into the spring's golden haze. The story drifts now, soft as a river's ripple, to its quiet close, leaving the castle's enduring world behind. As your mind floats gently through the fading echoes of Kenilworth Castle, we've wandered its quiet halls, its frost-dusted courtyard, and its blooming garden, where the siege's long months tested the hearts of knights and squires alike. You've polished armor in the armory's glow, knelt in the chapel's candlelit hush, and carried the banner of hope to the battlements, feeling the castle's steady rhythm in every task. Now, as the gates stand open and the road stretches beyond, the story settles, like dust on a sunlit path, leaving only peace in its wake. Feel your breath soften, your body sinking deeper into the comfort of your bed, as if you're resting on that straw mattress within the castle's walls, the scent of time still lingering on your hands. Tonight, we've traveled far, through mist and starlight, through the lives of those who waited, endured, and hoped, their small acts weaving a tapestry of strength. The castle's red stones fade now, its moat a distant glimmer, but their quiet promise remains, a gentle vow that carries you toward rest. If this tale has warmed your evening, know that another waits, another corner of history to explore when you're ready. But for now, let your thoughts scatter, like petals on the moat's still water, and let the castle's peace cradle you. The stars of 13th century England shine above, soft and eternal, watching over you as you close your eyes. The siege is over, the road open, and there's nothing left to hold, nothing to do but rest. Good night, my friend, sleep well, carried by the gentle hum of a world that endures.